You know that moment when you meet someone for the first time and something in you, not your thoughts, something deeper, already knows them. Not who they are, but what they are. Whether they can be trusted, whether they'll matter. You can't explain it. You have no evidence. And if you try to tell someone, they'd look at you like you were making things up. But you keep being right. There's more going on here than people realize. What you're experiencing isn't a lucky guess or a vague feeling. It's something your nervous system has been doing your entire life, taking in information your conscious mind hasn't caught up to yet, and you've never been able to explain it. Not because you lack the words, but because what you're sensing doesn't have words. It exists beneath language, beneath logic, beneath the part of the mind that needs proof before it believes. It's important to say this clearly. Feeling things before they happen doesn't make you strange. It might be a sign that your intuition is operating at a level most people don't have language for, and that you've been dismissing it for far too long. But here's where it gets complicated, because what looks like a gift from the outside can feel like a burden from the inside. There's the body first. Long before you consciously register that something is off, your nervous system has already responded. Heart rate shifts, skin conductance changes. The gut, which contains over 100 million neurons, fires before the brain's reasoning centers engage. Researchers at the HeartMath Institute have measured what they call pre stimulus response, the body reacting to an event fractions of a second before it occurs. It's not that you're predicting the future, it's that your body is absorbing information your mind hasn't processed yet. And you feel it as a sensation, a tightness, a pull, a knowing that arrives before the knowing. But here's where it becomes more personal. The psychologist Daniel Kahneman distinguished between two systems of thinking. System one is fast, automatic, intuitive. System two is slow, deliberate, analytical. Most people are trained to distrust system one, to wait for proof, to override the gut with logic. But highly intuitive people don't have a stronger system one. They have a quieter system two. They've learned to let the fast knowing speak before the slow reasoning shuts it down. It's not that you're irrational, it's that you've learned to hear something most people talk over. And that creates a strange social cost when you say, I just have a feeling about this person. People don't know what to do with that. Like they hear it as vague, unreliable. So you learn to stop saying it out loud. You start translating your intuition into language that sounds more acceptable. Something doesn't add up, or I just don't think it's the right fit. You dress your knowing in logic so others will take it seriously, but the translation is never perfect. Something always gets lost. And over time, you start to wonder if maybe they're right. Maybe you were just making it up. You're not. There's also something else happening beneath that. Intuition isn't just about reading situations, it's about protecting something. When you sense that someone isn't safe before they've done anything wrong, your intuition isn't being paranoid. It's drawing on every interaction you've ever had, every micro expression you've absorbed, every time something felt fine and wasn't. You're not predicting the future, you're recognizing the past and the present. And that recognition feels like certainty because, on a level beneath words, it is. Your body has been here before. But where does this come from? For many highly intuitive people, it developed early, not as a gift, but as a strategy. When you grow up in an environment where you had to read the room, where the emotional weather could change without warning, you learn to sense things before they arrive. And you get so good at it that it stops being conscious. It just feels like how you are, but a survival mechanism that outlives its context doesn't disappear. It deepens. What started as hypervigilance becomes something else, something that looks less like fear and more like wisdom. And if you experience this, you know the texture of it. It's not a thought, it's a specific sensation, different for everyone. For some, a warmth in the chest. For others, a stillness. A sudden quiet inside, like the noise drops away and one clear thing remains. It doesn't shout, it doesn't argue, it just is. And the more you've tried to ignore it, the more you've noticed it anyway, arriving at the same conclusion, patient and unbothered, every single time. But here's what this means about who you are: you're not someone who sometimes gets feelings. You're someone whose primary way of knowing the world is nonverbal. You don't experience life through analysis first, you experience it through resonance first. And that's not a lesser way of knowing, it's a different intelligence. The fact that you've doubted it for so long, like, doesn't make it weaker. It makes your relationship with it more complex, because you can't fully dismiss something that keeps proving itself. You can only learn slowly to stop dismissing yourself. But patterns aren't identities, they're responses. And responses come from somewhere. What you call intuition, that quiet knowing that arrives before the evidence, is the intersection of your body's memory, your mind's pattern recognition, and something that doesn't fit neatly into either. And once something becomes that ingrained, it stops feeling like a choice. It just feels like how you are. But there's a quiet depth in choosing to listen, in letting that knowing exist without demanding it explain itself. In a world that's constantly asking for proof, there's something quietly rare about someone who trusts what they feel, before they can prove it. And if this resonates with you, if any part of this felt familiar, I want you to consider something. What would change if you stopped treating your intuition as something to justify and started treating it as something to follow? You don't have to answer that now. Just sit with it. Share your experience in the comments. And if you're interested in exploring more, consider subscribing.